Wheels Car of the Year has been running since 1963. A lot's changed since then, but there's one thing that hasn't. It's still bloody hard to predict the winner. This year we have 17 models represented by 31 individual cars. We've got the new Toyota Supra, Porsche's all-new 911, and the much-improved BMW 3 Series. But if I was a gambling man and someone asked me to take a punt before we've even turned a wheel during testing, then I reckon the winner's going to come from one of these four.
Volvo is on a record run at Wheels Car of the Year, and this S60 is angling to give the Swedish brand an unprecedented 3 gongs on the trot. Toyota's 5th generation RAV4 is one of those superb all-rounders that always does well at Car of the Year, and the Tesla Model 3, well, it's the electric car of the moment. The Mercedes-Benz EQC is also electric, and its silky performance, refinement, and high safety levels mean it's Mercedes' best shot at winning in years.
But Car of the Year is always full of surprises, so there's no guarantee that one of these four is going to win, or even be a finalist. So, let's get cracking.
The key to testing at Car of the Year is to do the same thing again and again and again. We put every car through the same series of tests. At the end of the process, there will be only one car left standing.
Volvo S60, so much to like. Premium cabin, fizzy drivetrains, useful EV range in the plug-in hybrid versions. Volvo really is on a roll at the moment.
I wasn't so convinced about the S60 to begin with, but just after driving it, I'm quite impressed with its dynamics.
Part of the appeal of the Mercedes EQC is how normal it is, yet they've got this terrific electric drivetrain to go with it. And Merc has thrown just enough technology in there to make it a genuine Car of the Year contender this year.
The EQC was hugely impressive through the lane change. Doesn't demonstrate any of the sort of roly-poly characteristics of the other conventionally powered SUVs we've got here at Car of the Year.
The RAV4's certainly got to be a strong chance here. It's a really strong range, makes a lot of sense from a value perspective, and it drives well.
The lane change manoeuvre is always a bit of fun because it gives us a greater chance to test a car's body control and also murder a few cones. And in regards to that, there has been no bigger perpetrator of murdering some plastic than this thing. It's the RAV4 Hybrid. It's kind of all over the place, really. Bit of an underperformer here.
I just got out of the base Tesla Model 3. The steering is super direct, feels really planted around Lang Lang, and I'm actually very into it, so it might be in for a chance.
Anyone who can drive a Tesla Model 3 and claim that electric cars aren't fun to drive is, with respect, talking out of their fundament.
After 3 days of testing, only a handful of cars can progress through to round 2 and be our finalists for 2020. So which of our 4 contenders will the judges vote for?
Right, so I've just emerged from the most intense and exhausting round of voting I've ever experienced in my 6 years of Wheels Car of the Year, but we have our 5 finalists. Sadly, one of our favourites has fallen at the first, so it's not going to be 3 wins on the trot for Volvo, but the Tesla, the Mercedes-Benz EQC and the Toyota RAV4 have all made it, alongside the Mazda 3 and Porsche's iconic 911. But there's no time to rest because after the break, we're going to ramp up the intensity another notch by taking them into the real world and onto our road loop, which has school zones, speed bumps, roundabouts, you name it, we're going to throw it at them.
Welcome back to the search for Australia's best new car. Round 1 saw us whittle down the field from 31 contenders to just 5 finalists.
Round 2 at Wheels Car of the Year is different. It's all about driving the cars in the real world. So we're looking to see how they perform around town on a variety of challenging roads, with 2 people in them, with 4 people in them, and also at the fuel bowser. After 3 days of extensive on-road testing and 1 more round of voting, we'll have a winner. This is one of the best things about Wheels Car of the Year, that the criteria allows us to have such a wide and varied group of finalists. We've got SUVs, small city cars, and a hardcore sports car.
The Porsche 911, as tested, was around $300,000. You could well ask, what relevance is that to everyday life? Well, if you had $300,000, name a better sports car, and you can't. So against its rivals, it is actually a compelling value proposition.
How does a car that handles like that also ride so comfortably? I don't know how Porsche does it.
The Mazda 3 has been an interesting one this year. There have been a lot of arguments, a lot of toing and froing. We're not exactly sure whether it furthers the small car segment. It does have some really nice cabin materials. It presents really good value for its segment. Even though it's up against some pretty impressive technology, it might be a bit of a dark horse worth watching.
The RAV4 represents superb value in terms of how much you get for your money. Really nice interior, pretty decent to drive as well, and the standout is that hybrid drivetrain.
So the RAV4 is quickly becoming a car of 2 halves. It seems that everybody loves the car with the powertrain that has hybrid propulsion, but the other 2 are pretty underwhelming, unfortunately. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one fares in the next round of voting. Given the Mercedes-Benz EQC is a big, heavy SUV with a very comfortable suspension tune, you'd kind of expect it to excel out on the real-world loop, and, well, it kind of has, actually. But it's by far the quietest car we've got here, and because the centre of gravity is so low, it's still a hoot to drive at enthusiastic speeds as well.
It looks like a Mercedes SUV, but it drives like no Mercedes SUV before it.
The Tesla Model 3. In so many traditional Wheels Car of the Year ways, it's not up to snuff really, but then in all these other ways, it makes a giant leap forward. So it's a real head scratcher.
From a value perspective, it's the only electric car on the market that matches an internal combustion engine car in terms of price.
With most internal combustion engine cars, your ears cue you into the fact that you're about to go really fast. But with the Tesla, there's no warning. You just plant that throttle and it fires you into your seat. And it's almost nauseating. It is so quick.
It's time for the judges to make some final notes before we cast a single vote for the winner. It's a secret ballot, and according to tradition, only the editor knows the result until it's revealed to the world months later.
Welcome to the Wheels studio, where finally, after months of keeping this a secret, I honestly haven't even told my wife, I'm going to reveal the winner. It says a lot that the car lurking behind me there, in one of our toughest years ever, it almost scored a unanimous vote from the judges. So, let's get to it. The Wheels Car of the Year for 2020 is...
The Mercedes-Benz EQC is a brilliantly polished SUV. It's beautifully built and sublimely comfortable and capable to drive, but it's also an electric car that needs no excuses. Where other EVs can feel compromised, the EQC shows the true potential of what an EV can do. And in many ways, it's scarily good. And that's why this is Australia's best new car for 2020.